Hello, fight fans. I'm that boxing writer, Jeremy Herridges, and welcome to Boxing and Coffee, the boxing morning YouTube show, which gives you a bit of an infusion of boxing and coffee to get your day started. Welcome, and make sure to like and subscribe. Help me out. Get the word out that there is something talking about boxing in the morning. I know that mornings aren't always everybody's best time, but why not have some boxing in the morning, right? It makes our lives so much better to have boxing all the time. So I'm going to remind everyone that this month's coffee is Death Wish Coffee, which I'm drinking right now. I'll be drinking it for the remainder of the month, continuing to give you reviews and my takes on it. And buyer beware, this is a high caffeinated coffee. So this is not your regular cup of coffee. The whole reason I started drinking it in the first place was because I never felt like I was getting enough for my coffee. That tells you a little bit about the level of my caffeine addiction. It is sky high. I need lots of caffeine. But again, too much caffeine is not good for you. Something about high caffeine coffees that I've noticed through some of the ones that I've tried in the past is that they don't always taste all that good. A lot of times when coffees are marketing themselves as having high caffeine, they often use lower quality coffee beans. I'm not a coffee expert other than the fact that I drink lots of coffee. That's as far as it goes. I used to watch the show Dangerous Grounds, if that makes me any sort of an expert. I trust my coffee taste buds here. And with that being said, I think that out of the different high caffeine coffees that I've tried, this one's pretty good. One of the things that I noticed kind of going through their website and some of the things about them is they actually used a blend of Arabica and Robusta. Arabica is like the higher end coffee bean. Robusta is more of the lower end, more of your Folgers type stuff. No offense, Folgers. Hey, you've worked for me for years, but you know, you're not that gourmet stuff, right? So it uses a blend, and I think you can really tell the difference that there is a bit of a higher grade coffee bean included in this coffee. It doesn't have that bitter taste or kind of like that bland taste that you taste in a lot of high caffeine coffees. Because again, you're buying the caffeine, not necessarily the quality of the coffee bean. So do you still have some Robusta in this? Yeah, you do. But you can also really taste that Arabica, and that makes a huge difference. It makes this taste like a higher end coffee, which it is, despite just having that caffeine kick throughout the day. It doesn't have the highest caffeine count, but it's way up there, and it's more than enough to get your day started. Too much caffeine, again, is not good for you, causes muscle fatigue and all sorts of different issues. So right now, I've been feeling this one, and like I said, 1 cup a day, and 1 cup can be different to a lot of people. This one, this cup can probably hold about 12 ounces of coffee. I'm drinking about 10 right now. So Death Wish Coffee, I've got it linked in there if you want to check them out and try some of their coffee. Give it a go. I think it's pretty good. Now let's get to boxing. So we're focusing here on boxing in March. We're more than a week into March already. We got started off the right way with Clarissa Shields and her victory, history-setting victory against Mariev Dakar. 2-time undisputed champion, never been done before in the 4-belt era. Hats off to Clarissa Shields, had to go it alone. I gave a big look at that in my column. Yes, I have a weekly boxing column on fansided.com called After the Fight. Usually comes out on Mondays, sometimes on Sunday if I'm really feeling up to it, but usually on Mondays. And it's up there now talking about her and women in boxing. Give it a go. It was International Women's Day yesterday, so my hat's off to Clarissa Shields for what she's been able to do as a boxer, going it alone, taking it upon herself to put on her own pay-per-view, and coming out victorious. So I hope that she is able to link up with a major broadcaster going forward, because she deserves it. When you're as good as she is and have accomplished as much as she's accomplished, she deserves that recognition and that platform. So I hope she gets it. But that's just starting off March. We've got a big March and a big week right now. I'm filming this right now, Tuesday morning, March 9th. Tomorrow, you've got a ShoBox show. ShoBox, the next generation, in its 20th anniversary. So congratulations to ShoBox and Showtime for putting on a history of great cards, giving prospects a proving ground. And we've got one of those big name prospects that I think is ready to turn the page from prospect to title contender. And that's Brandun Lee. I had the pleasure of talking to Brandun Lee several days ago. You can read my interview with Brandun up on fansided.com right now. Remember, go to fansided.com/boxing. It should be up there. And he is a rather remarkable young boxer. 21-0, 19 KOs, 90% KO rating. He's only 21 years old, and he's got a vast amateur experience, numerous national titles, amateur record of 181-9. He's just getting started. Taking on Samuel Tea as the main event of the ShoBox show this Wednesday. That's 9 p.m. Eastern. Check him out. Brandun Lee, something special's going on there. And I think Brandun Lee's about to take a big step up. He's got 12 KOs in a row. I think Samuel Tea is going to be his 13th KO in a row. He's making waves at that junior welterweight division. If he keeps winning, I think he's going to be in the title picture in the future. Obviously, right now, it's a little bit too early to say that. He also has a great prediction for the Josh Taylor-Jose Ramirez fight that's coming up in May. Hear what Brandun has to say about that. Now, I trust him. I see things my way. Hearing him talk about that fight and predict it, he may have swayed my vote because he is so intelligent. When I talk about intelligence, hearing him talk about boxing strategy, Brandun Lee is smart. You don't get too many boxers as intelligent as this guy, as far as his boxing IQ and his general intelligence. He's a college student right now. Remarkable person. But check it out. Lots there. There's a great anecdote, too. Brandun Lee, Fansided, check it out. After that, you've got Friday, starting off the Superfly fun. You've got Srisaket Rungvisai versus Kwantai Smith-Morintsing. Obviously, Rungvisai, former flyweight champion. His last loss came to Francisco Estrada in 2019. He's had some victories since then. And again, it wasn't like a major setback, but his name has kind of been lost in the mix of the flyweights now that you've got Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez coming back. Obviously, Juan Francisco Estrada doing what he's doing in his last fight against Carlos Cuadras. So you've got a lot going on there. And don't forget, Rungvisai, he beat Estrada back in 2018. And before that, he also KO'd Chocolatito. So don't close the book on Rungvisai yet. Yes, as fighters age, they lose a little bit something, but we also see that all these guys are pretty much in that same age range of their early 30s. And I think Chocolatito, if anybody, showed that you can have a second act and kind of dust yourself off and keep on going. I kind of closed the book on him a little bit too early, and he's showing me something here. So that kind of gets the weekend started. That's on DAZN. Then on Saturday, you've got two different boxing cards. Obviously, you've got the DAZN card with Chocolatito versus Estrada. That's going to be fascinating. If we go back, Estrada had a huge win over Carlos Cuadras in the 11th round, knocking him out back in October. And then we also have to remember that Estrada lost to Chocolatito back in 2012. Now, that was a long time ago, but that makes this more of a grudge match. Chocolatito is showing that he's not finished, still has something left in the tank. This could be a very interesting fight. So don't close the book on any one of these guys. Anything can happen. And as we've seen with the Superflies, which is so great, is that they all kind of can beat each other. And we've seen that occur, that this guy beats this guy, but he beat that guy, but that guy beat that guy. That same thing could still be happening. So don't close the book on Chocolatito, but Estrada's going to be the favorite. But incredible that what Chocolatito's been doing, having a rebirth at 33 years old, won his last 4 fights. He's a WBA super champion. So that's what we got. Also on Saturday, we've got a Showtime card featuring David Benavidez versus Ronald Ellis, title eliminator. That's going to be on Showtime. And that's super middleweights. David Benavidez trying to prove that weight's not an issue, that he can make the 168 limit of super middleweight. And that's going to be hard going forward. Again, another young guy, and he's had some problems at the scale, but he's a big guy. He's a big super middleweight that's still growing. I'll be interested to see how that works out. To see if he's drained on the scale, if he's able to make it comfortably. If he's less than 100%, or if he's killing himself to make it down to that weight, that's a problem. And he's told me in the past, the last time I talked to him, that yeah, sometimes it has taken a toll on him. It is hard to get down to that weight, and if it's hard to do that, why do it? Move up to light heavyweight, but I understand why he's doing it. He's chasing the big action. He wants Canelo. He wants Plant. He wants those big names at super middleweight. Who can take over super middleweight and who can beat Canelo to do it? Can anybody? I don't know. You tell me. But I think that's where he's thinking. The money's keeping him down at super middleweight. So, again, should be a showcase fight. Ronald Ellis kind of won on a technicality last time, was overweight by several pounds. I think he was 4 pounds overweight, something like that. He's a nice guy. He's a good boxer, but I don't think he's going to have what happened in his last fight. Matvey Korobov had a freak injury. That lost him the fight right there, won it for Ellis. So I think he kind of got a gift against Korobov, and I'm not giving him much of a chance against David Benavidez. I just think they're on two different levels. Again, Ellis in his 30s, the older guy versus the younger guy. There's nothing there that tells me that Benavidez won't tear through him. But Ellis has a strong chin. He's durable, and I think that's what we're going to see here. Can Benavidez take out a guy that hasn't been taken out? That's the intriguing part, but I think it's a pretty clear shift towards Benavidez, if we're being quite honest. This is going to be a pretty one-sided boxing bout, but hey, you can never count anybody out. We've seen it already that the year of the upset started off hot in February, so let's see if that continues. I doubt it against Benavidez. Then fights on the horizon. Some pretty, originally when I took a look at the upcoming months, I was comparing February to March, and March was looking like a bit of a letdown because there were so many good fights in February. What I'm seeing here, you're seeing more boxing cards pop up in the middle of the week, which is really adding to the depth of boxing. So, okay, maybe we don't have some of those A fighters, those marquee names. However, we do have a nice crop of prospects, contenders, and champions fighting during the week, and it's promotions like Ring City USA which are helping to do that. That like ShoBox that are helping to do that. So right now, having productions like ShoBox and Ring City USA bringing you boxing on a Wednesday and a Thursday, fantastic. It's making boxing more of not a daily thing, but something that's not just saved for the weekend. And it's nice to see that. Brings me back to the days of USA Boxing when you'd have like Tuesday night fights or even Friday night fights, right? Having boxing in the week just kind of, I don't know, it lifts my spirits. And if you're a boxing fan, how could it not lift yours? So fights on the horizon. Ring City USA doing some great stuff. 2 cards coming up in the future. You've got Ring City USA on Thursday, March 18th. Hector Tanajara versus Alberto Machado. Thursday, March 16th. That's going to be a great fight. Saturday, March 20th. You've got the Virgil Ortiz bout between Maurice Hooker. Big test for Ortiz. Can Hooker bounce back? Intriguing fight. Big test for Ortiz Jr., but I think everyone's waiting for Ortiz to really put his footprint on boxing as the next big star. I know Golden Boy's banking on that. That's going to be a DAZN fight. And then Thursday, March 25th, Amanda Serrano, the great featherweight female champion, is going to be fighting Daniela Bermudez on Ring City USA's card. Remember, the Ring City USA cards are featured on NBC Sportsnet, so that's where you can see the March 18th and the March 25th shows. Ring City USA on NBC Sports Network. And then finally, and there's other bouts at the end of March as well. There's Tizoo coming up. But the one that's really intriguing is the rematch between Alexander Povetkin and Dillian White. That's Saturday, March 27th. Heavyweights. Can Povetkin pull out that punch again, or did Dillian White shore up his defenses to make sure that he doesn't get caught with that one punch? Intriguing fights. Hey, March boxing is looking pretty good. Gear up, get ready. But before we get to March 27th, we've got this week right now, Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday, Brandun Lee versus Samuel Tea. Saturday, 2 different cards. You've got Juan Francisco Estrada on DAZN versus Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. And on Showtime, David Benavidez versus Ronald Ellis. Get ready. Have fun. Hey, make sure to like, subscribe, grab yourself some coffee. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.